Hi, this is Chuck Oliver. Welcome to this week's Hidden Wells Solution Review. Well, I want to talk first and foremost about taxes and some of the benefits that may not be a benefit in the coronavirus stimulus of the 2 trillion of what many are thinking could be as much as 6 trillion. So this was an interview I'm going to discuss with you on CBS Market Watch by one of the top Harvard economists that basically wrote about, obviously, the importance of our national debt. And first off, there's no required minimum distribution. If you turned 70 and a half last year and didn't take it, it would have been due this past week on April 1st. That's been waived as part of the coronavirus crisis rulings. If you have your first required minimum distribution for 2020, it's been waived. But is that the best decision? Because I think what you're about to learn from this interview and what the impact of what this coronavirus stimulus is really going to mean, it's going to mean higher taxes for those that have worked hard and saved hard in tax deferred accounts. And if there was a time to get untaxed and save tax on your money, it's in 2020 and it's under Donald Trump, while tax rates are still low and why we still have him in office, because we obviously have, on top of the coronavirus crisis, we have obviously a major election that will be interesting to see, because the outcome not being a Trump reelected is going to mean nothing more than higher taxes. And here's what this was. This is an interview where this former Kenneth Rogoff, the Harvard economist, was quoted in this interview. And they were asked about what will this $2 trillion portion of this coronavirus stimulus, what's it mean? How's it going to be paid? He said, we are at war. The whole point of not relying on debt excessively in normal times is precisely to be able to use debt massively and without hesitations in situations like this coronavirus crisis. Now, I'm all for getting people obviously paid and keeping people, on payroll and in industry with stimulus and business loans. But folks, we don't want to lose our economy, but this is going to translate into much higher taxes. Here's why. The options, when they asked, they said, will this mean tax rates will likely go up? They said, well, it's going to be one of two things. Either likely taxes will have to go up, or they'll have to cut spending, particularly federal spending. Well, guess what happens when you cut federal spending? You push a recession even faster. And we know our Democratic friends are not going to go for cutting government spending. They want to add massive government spending. So imagine somebody else other than Donald Trump getting in after this coronavirus stimulus of goodness knows how much. Likely Larry Kudlow, an economic advisor of Trump, is saying at least 6 trillion. So we're only a third there with what this impact is going to be. And understand, under Obama, it took 214 years to he doubled our national debt. And what took 214 years? He did it in 8 years, 2 terms. 214 years of debt doubled. Now, picture this, 6 trillion. They said, well, this 2 trillion stimulus, what will this do to our national deficit? It'll put us at about 25 trillion. And they said, how long is it going to take to pay it back? And the answer was a long time. Well, think of the impact of this. 6 trillion of our national debt is money the government owes itself. We paid 580 billion in interest on our debt just in fiscal year last year alone. Right? So paying back this 2 trillion stimulus is obviously going to raise taxes. So if you've worked hard and saved hard in tax deferred IRAs and 401ks, look, whether you have an RMD or whether you've got most, as predictably, boomers and retirees who are already worried about either retirees we talk to on a weekly basis having to reduce their retirements, or those trying to get to retirement, wondering if they can even reach retirement. As one client said, Chuck, I need you to get me back on track because, wow, what I made all of last year, I gave back in 5 weeks. I need to make sure I'm going to be on track. Well, think about your thinking. If Trump's right, and I think he's done a wonderful job under the circumstances, and this market that did this V down, he predicts is going to do a V up. Last thing you want to do is leave money, going straight up in tax deferred accounts, because that means taxes are going to go straight up. So the time while the accounts are down, while tax rates are down, this is the time to save tax money, is 2020. Now, picture it. They said, how long is it going to take to pay this debt back? It'll take about 30 years to pay $1 trillion. Now, think about that, folks. We're 25 trillion in. We're likely going to find ourselves closer to 30 trillion. And we're already running $1 trillion deficit in our spending before the coronavirus crisis, right? We bring in 3.5 trillion into our treasury and we spend out 4.5 trillion. Now add another 6 trillion on top of the 1 trillion we were going to run a deficit. and you can spell taxes higher all day long. So here's what we did. Go to taxessave.com. That's taxessave.com and request a saving tax optimization plan analysis. Don't worry, there's no sales pitch, but by learning the retirement tax rate risk road you're on, to then see the retirement lesser tax rate route you can take is saving boomers and retirees a ton of tax. Folks, you worked hard for your money. Let me leave you with this one final thought. By requesting the saving tax optimization plan analysis, give us the best day, the best time, and the best phone number. We can only make one pass because as people have more quarantine time to get focused, our clients don't lose money to the market like the traditional market. And many of our clients for their retirement protection didn't lose next to anything, if anything, in these market correction time periods. But the focus that we're getting on a regular basis is, Chuck, teach me how to save tax. It seems like now's the time, or I don't know how bad taxes are going to be. Folks, control your tax money in 2020. Learn how now. I'll gift you my guide, Retirement and Your Taxes, how to get the IRS out of your IRAs, how to get the government out and Uncle Sam out of your kids' inheritance and grandkids' inheritance. And I'll teach you the Tax Cut and Job Act important points to take advantage why brackets are expanded and tax rates are lower. Now's the time. You worked hard for your money. Let us teach you how much more you can protect your money, your tax money in 2020. Taxessaved.com, taxessaved.com.